Heyo, and welcome to the finale of Mega Man 3 Game Boy. In this part, we are heading towards the end game, and we've made our way into Wily's station here. And this is where we're going to be introduced to the other part of this game's plot that I actually haven't covered yet, which is this fella here. This spinning blade is the second of the Mega Man Killer series. So, like in Dr. Wily's Revenge, we had Enka, who had that weird sort of slashy saber attack thing that wasn't quite as cool as Zero. This is Punk, and Punk also named after a music genre, obviously, as they all seem to be. Punk, his main gimmick is that he has these weird razor blade kind of things, different spinning blades that he launches at you. He's actually quite deceptively difficult because the first couple of things he does is he just throws out some stuff that you can easily jump over, and then he just darts over, sort of like Armored Armadillo does to a certain degree. But then these sort of things, they start catching up to you, and it's quite hard to dodge them when he throws them so quickly. Like, I managed to get it down pretty quickly there after a fair few retakes, just to, get good at it so I wasn't getting hit by him constantly. But he can be quite challenging, and so that's why you want to be properly paying attention to where he's shooting. And I think the trick there is he seems to take a lot of damage to a fully charged Buster Shot. So whenever you're not actually shooting at him, be charging up your Buster ready just so you can just get that quick hit in. Because that's what let me take him down quite easily there. And I don't think I've mentioned this yet in the playthrough, but this was actually the first of the Game Boy games to let you use the Charge Shot. Because the Charge Shot wasn't actually brought in the main series until 4. But given this kind of was built upon both 3 and 4, I guess they just decided to carry over the Charge Shot from 4 and put it into 3 here, which, it works for me because it makes bosses like Punk that much easier. And just in general, I kind of like the Charge Shot. It does mean you get into that habit of just charging all the time just to get ready for the thing that you might face next. And so you get that awful noise going off most of the time when you're walking around. But it's a sound that you quite quickly get used to and you can mentally tune out, so it's not really the end of the world. More a nitpick on my part, which I have a tendency of doing, and I'll try not to do it, but sometimes I like to think way too hard about these games. Not so much as I do with Sonic, but hey. It's one thing. Sometimes when I'm up late at night in calls with my friends and I'm thinking about how the Sonic timeline splits and applying time travel theory to it, that's when I start to realise that maybe I'm far too deep into this video game analysis kind of thing, and maybe I should take a step back and stop. Not that I ever will, obviously, because, I'm me. I have no life, I have no job, I have nothing else to do, so let's just go full like that. But this is basically what you expect from a Wily stage, because you've got the enemies from previous stages, you got like the ladder sections that kind of add the intensity. I kind of like the animated background. It feels like you're in this sort of dynamic station environment that is it's either moving around or maybe it's like quite an intense area, so there's a lot of ventilation and stuff like that is really cool. Bear in mind this sort of spawned out of the ocean where Wily was doing his like fucking drilling for energy. So like we're in what is probably quite a hostile environment that's got all this specific machinery. Like that could be ventilating to make sure the drills don't overheat. Make sure we don't end up with some weird collider end of the world situation, which would probably never happen. I can't actually remember what the outcome with that fucking Hadron Collider thing was, but I remember that was one of the this is gonna cause the end of the world panics. I remember, I think I was still in school when that happened, and yeah, so hearing about yet another end of the world scenario, I can't remember whether that was before or after 2012 actually. Because I know the 2012 end of the world scenario was that one about like the expiration of the Mayan calendar and like about how it supposedly ended there or something. Like I don't remember the specifics, but that was one of the ones where it's quite fun watching the people who actually believed it. Like, we seem to have the end of the world every couple of years or so, and it's getting quite fun at this point. Maybe we'll have something a bit more convincing one day, but I doubt it. This whole planet of ours is just going to keep chugging, keep doing what it does. And them things, like, I remember them being from 4, like these sweet dispenser kind of things. I think there's some places that still have them, like they're not that common now, I don't think. Because like, it used to be a case where like any shop you go to, there'd be a thing by the door that like either it, you know, you'd twist the dial and it like put out either sweets or like a little collectible toy, and you'd get something out of it like that just from putting a coin in the top. Nowadays I don't see them that much. I always remember Toys R Us having one, but that is the kind of place where you'd expect that kind of thing. Like, they had these gimmicky toys that they just change them every few months or so. But this boss here, we did fight one of these last time, but this is another giant Susie. It's based on the Susie enemies, like the Sue enemies I think they're called, from Mega Man 1. They also came back in Mega Man 10 as well, like there were a few in Solar Man stage. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And speaking of Mega Man 10, Mega Man 10 actually has some DLC, which includes the Mega Man killers. I know Punk is definitely in, like I've seen reference to Punk being in. I believe Enka and the other guy who we haven't seen in these games yet, but Ballad, I believe those were both in that DLC as well. And speaking of Punk, I know that Inafune in particular quite likes Punk's design. I've got a quote here that, like, him talking about this game in general, he says, "I decided to look at World 3, which World 3, that's the Japanese name for Mega Man 3 Game Boy, as a fresh new start, and I remember digging into it with renewed zest. Punk in particular was a favourite of mine, and I used my sway as the producer to have him included in Mega Man Battle Network." So yeah, he came back in Battle Network as well, and he seems to be like one of Inafune's favourites. I don't know whether that's the case for Gutsman, because Gutsman has come back in quite a few Mega Man games as well. Like, I've talked about this a lot, but you know, he was in 7, I think he might have been in 8, like I know there was some, actually I think that was Cutman who came back in 8, but you know, there's been plenty of little nods to Gutsman. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first phase of the Wily machine for this game, and look how stupid it is. No, he just clamps down on you and you shoot him with your buster. It looked like he finished himself off there. I don't think he did. Like, that was just me shooting him and him falling down. But yes, that leads into the second phase coming up, where I'm actually going to use Punk's weapon against Wily here, which is a bit more difficult than it looks because it's quite hard to aim Punk's weapon. You have to be like shooting at the right angle, and much easier said than done. But this is probably a good time to start wrapping up my thoughts on Mega Man 3 Game Boy, because it's quite a short game. Mega Man 3 Game Boy, to me, it feels more polished than Mega Man 2 Game Boy. I don't know if I'd say I like this more or less than Wily's Revenge. I think Wily's Revenge was a bit more difficult on the whole. This felt like it was more faithfully adapting the NES levels, like using their set pieces more obviously and just, you know, not confining itself to being a single screen, which I'm kind of mixed on. I think I'll place them about the same. The music's much better than 2. Like, the music in this game is really good, and that's basically all I can really say for it. It's another Game Boy Mega Man game, and I enjoyed my time with it, but it's, you know, it's another Game Boy Mega Man game. And yeah, that's us done now. We've saved the day. Wily Station's blowing up and he totally isn't going to rebuild it. I haven't seen anything of 4 yet, other than knowing that Ballad is the Mega Man killer from that game, so that will be a fun one to get to when I get around to recording that. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I've been the Flameclaw, And this has been Mega Man 3 Game Boy. This ending theme is one of my favourites from the Mega Man series, so I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.